What's up, guys? How's everything going? It is Friday, about 10:35 in the morning on April 3rd, 2020 AD. I hope everybody is doing well, staying home, social distancing, which is probably going to be my least favorite phrase on the planet when this is all done. Um, I wanted to share something with you today that was a little bit different and a little bit more just me showing some dopey stuff to you guys that in the last cybersecurity video, I had shown the history of the different version of Windows. And of course, it only goes back to Windows 7 because, from your perspective, that's probably the oldest version that you'll see. Although Windows XP is still like floating around once in a while on oddball things. I think I had mentioned once before in the on the TriCaster studio equipment that I have in the other portable for the Indian Springs News and all. That box runs Windows XP, and it's like really frustrating and kind of funny. But you guys are used to using, modern technology, and stuff usually just kind of works, and you don't think about it and everything. Let me show you where we've come from. So this website, and I'm going to post this on our Google Classroom along with the video, is an emulator for older operating systems. Cancel. I don't want that. I just want Program Manager. Close. Oh. Oh, I can't close a Program Manager. Haha. Look at that. See, stuff I forget. This is Windows 3.1. Okay. This is before Windows 95. Okay. This is what you were stuck with if you had a computer back in the late 1980s. Okay. And just to kind of look around at some of the stuff like games, I was actually actively sitting here playing a game of solitaire um, before I options. I want to draw one. Uh, let's see. Put that there. I can't move the queen over to its own column. Got anything else here? Yeah, I could put the three there. Ace, nice. Ace goes up there. Another queen. I got no home for the three right now. Got no home for the two. So yeah, so you can see this is the original solitaire, which is kind of funny. I have not seen this in quite a long time. That's aggravating. I could put the seven, the six would go right over it, but I got no place to put the seven. Three can go down there. So I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch me play solitaire, although I am reliving a portion of my youth sitting here doing this. Okay, so you have solitaire and Minesweeper, which I still think are on the modern version of Windows. If I hit escape and go on my Windows 10 machine here real quick, if I go, yeah, see. Now let's take a look at what solitaire looks like now, right? And it's just like ridiculously modern looking and nice. We can record our game and send it to the Xbox. Yeah, look at this. We went from this, right, to that. Go figure. So, so this is always kind of fun and nostalgic for me, at least. Anyway, sometimes it's hard to do the mouse in this thing. Minesweeper is the only other game that's on here. Stuff you could actually do to be productive. There is no web browser on Windows 3.1. Okay, but you do have cool stuff like Paintbrush, which when you launch this and look at the interface, it is really not really much different than Microsoft Paint now. Okay, you can sit there and draw, right? I'll undo that. One of my favorites when I was but a young computer user use the spray paint, right? Uh, draw designs. Let's break out some boxes. Okay, and you can actually make your own artwork. You could sit here for hours and just mess around with this. And some people actually get intricate enough and make some really cool art using the super old school Microsoft Paint stuff there. No, I don't want to save it. Right. Here is the predecessor to all the versions of Microsoft Word, where you can tape, where you can type stuff. Space, final, oops, final frontier. These are the voyages the Starship Enterprise. I don't think there's a spell check on here because it let me type D, right? So you could type all this stuff out. You could change the font if you go to characters and go to fonts. All your favorites are actually there. We can break out Times New Roman, size 12, right? But I didn't highlight it, right? So character, fonts, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Times New Roman, size 12. Boom. Right? And it uses, and that's technically the same font. Notice how pixelated it looks compared to, what it would look like in a modern computer, but that's still the same font. It's still the same font family. So you had the predecessor to that. Terminal is when you're sending like command line prompts to a remote computer. Notepad is just the same thing, literally the same icon and everything is Notepad. You got the good old calculator, kind of self-explanatory there. Notice there's no X to close a window. You have to actually hit the minus button and say closed. Clock, break out the clock. It's actually close to accurate. It's got the date right and has the time is off by about a half hour. And I think, hold on, this should be a setting. Yeah, analog. Go old school. There you go. Object packager, I'm not sure what that is entirely anymore. That might be where if you were writing code in a program, you package it as if and make your own executable. Sound recorder is pretty self-explanatory. Media player, there's the original version of media player. Character map was always interesting because if you needed to find like the weird symbol, like, hey, I'm writing in Greek, how do I put that in something? You would choose that, and then characters to copy. You can kind of put that in whatever you're typing. There's a version of this for Microsoft Word as well. Um, so that's sort of cool. And this is what you had. Like, that's all you had. What's on the main? Print manager. So if you're printing stuff, clipboard viewer, if you copy to something and you wanted to see what you had copied and pasted, you put it there. PIF editor is basically like, hey, if you see a file whose last three digits are like .pdf, then use this program to open it, kind of thing. File manager is Windows Explorer, right? So you open that up, and this is going to take a second because obviously it's running in a browser. Here's what's in the C drive. It thinks this emulator thinks it has two floppy drives, but here's your C drive. Okay, here's the Windows and all the files that go with Windows and everything. It's cool. It's actually very nostalgic for someone like myself who's really first experience using a computer was using this. Um, the same website, I got to hit escape to get my mouse back, also has a Windows 95 emulator. So we're sitting here on Windows 5. Hold on, close that. Now we have some interesting stuff going on. My computer, which is what the File Explorer is, notice there's some more files sitting over here over now. DOS is still running in the background. Windows and DOS is the disk operating system. It's basically the version of Windows that was words only, and then Windows was the graphic user interface that went over that. Okay. DOS always ran in the background. Program files folder, you see that that's kind of like a standard thing, even on our computers today. Um, we have our trusty start button, which was innovative at the time, right? Accessories, online, nothing in startup, MS-DOS prompt. I'll show you that in a second. Windows Explorer. Yeah. Set up the Microsoft network. Inbox. You could set up your email. I wonder why there's no web browser here. There should be a web browser floating around somewhere, unless this, since it's running an emulator, it might not have it. If I do MS-DOS prompt, it should. Let's see what this thing does, because it is in a web browser. There. It brings up really almost the same thing when you hit CMD, a command prompt, right? So if I do that, it should get me back to the main C drive. If I do dir, it shows you what's in the main directory. We have that Windows folder. So if I go cd/Windows, I think that's how you type that. There. Then I do dir, and it shows me all the files that are in the Windows folder. I probably maybe shouldn't have. Okay, that'll end pretty quickly. right? And then CD slash, leaving it empty, brings you back. And that's still true for the command prompts that we do now. It doesn't know what ipconfig is, so you can't look at that because it doesn't exist yet as far as Microsoft Windows 95 is concerned. So that's sort of cool. I'll share these websites on our Google Classroom if you want to just play with them. It's really not like exciting stuff, but at the same time, I think it gives you an appreciation for like, wow, we used to have to use computers like this, and now we get to do stuff like I'm screencasting on my computer right now, where it looks like so much more what we would consider modern, right? Like, look, if I go to Paint, look, it uses the same icon. And it's the same thing. Here's your colors, different types of brushes. Yeah, it can do some fancier stuff, but same stuff. Same stuff. I just always kind of think this stuff is cool. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Nothing really hardcore or amazing or anything. I will do another round of actual content from our class like on Monday. I know next week is spring break, so technically we're not even supposed to be really doing much of anything. But you guys, it's spring break. We're all home alone doing nothing anyway. So I'll set up a video chat if you guys want to get together, and I'll do some content and stuff next week for the heck of it. So I hope everybody's being well. Hope everybody's being safe, and I'll speak to you all soon.